Several deaths, countless near misses and consequences that go far beyond the roads.
The drivers whose quest for speed is a blatant disregard for the safety of others. Tonight, we have a special programme revealing the dangerous world of illegal street racing.
On the programme tonight, the thrill of the chase. Having hit 178 miles per hour, one driver justifies his need for speed.
The happiness you get in that moment is indescribable, man.
Deadly consequences. We speak to the parents of two teenagers killed by a street racer in Oldbury.
They go in these cars, they're racing round, they never think it's going to be them. And the reality is now that you're speaking to two parents, that it is real for us every day, every second of the day.
She'd signed me up for everything. Mum, we're doing this Zumbathon. Mum, we're doing the Walk for Life. Mum, we're doing this. And I miss it so much.
Sleep deprivation, the mum who can't go to bed until the revving engines stop.
I don't sleep before midnight, and this is what happened with my entire family as well. My kids, they can't sleep without.
Zero tolerance. Police talk tough, but are they really able to stop the street racers?
You know, when you've got 100 or 200 people coming to street race, you can't put 200 people in the cells.
Good evening. It is fast, loud and can be dangerously out of control. ITV News Central has witnessed shocking examples of illegal street racing, and for the drivers involved, the West Midlands is their capital. One bragged about hitting nearly 180 miles per hour.
Well, these are meets where a community of drivers get together to push their cars to the limits. It's taken us 2 years to gain access to this world, and tonight we can show you street racers tearing along motorways and roundabouts in Birmingham, Oldbury, West Bromwich and Worcestershire. Lewis Warner reports on the drivers who are revved and reckless and whose desire for racing outweighs their fear of all consequences.
Unsafe, often uninsured, frankly unbelievable. This is the West Midlands street racing scene, and over the last 5 months, we've been there to witness it. From speeding to drifting, on a weekly basis, this is made to feel like one big party on the region's roads. But it can have disastrous consequences. It's February, and we're meeting Faizan and Zain. For years, they've been part of the street racing scene in the West Midlands. They tell us they don't race anymore, they only go along to watch. And tonight, we're going with them.
Faizan, how you doing? And what type of thing can we expect to see tonight?
Well, you'll see a bit of racing, a bit of people just gathering together and having a good time.
Zain, what are the types of conditions that might mean it's not busy tonight?
I suppose the weather, maybe. Usually when it's dry, a lot of people like to get out and, you know, just enjoy, have a bit of fun.
We've just had the details of tonight's meet. The message has come through in a WhatsApp group chat that we've been monitoring for some time now. The messages are sent, but then deleted within seconds, so you've got to be quick. Over the space of 2 years, ITV News Central has been working to gain access to these encrypted groups. Now we can see the messages. Tonight, everyone's told to head to Dudley.
OK, let's go.
We will, of course, be driving within the speed limit and within the law at all times. The problem with that is we often turn up too late.
So we've done the 25-minute drive from Birmingham to Dudley, but there's only a couple of cars here. We think they've moved on already. There is another location now in that WhatsApp group chat, and this time it's Wolverhampton.
On the drive to the next location, we quickly hear signs that we're heading the right way. When we arrive, Zain tells me this is a regular spot for street racing. There are about 30 cars here, each taking it in turns to launch off from the roundabout. But within seconds of us being there, a police car passes by. So everyone is now leaving because that police car just pulled over one of the cars that took off from the roundabout really quickly. The air is full of smoke and it really, really smells. Everyone's now going on to the next location. The sound created by these modified cars echoes around the streets for hours. So we're in West Bromwich now, and there's quite a few people standing watching the cars race by. There's a family over there with a kid who's no older than 10 years old, I'd say. It's about 11:30 on a Saturday night, and he's out here watching this as well. It's here that we meet one of those behind the wheel, someone who's been street racing ever since he learnt how to drive.
Racing has always been, it's just like a little part of you, isn't it? The little instinct inside of you that says, you know, just put your right foot down a little bit more.
Are you worried about the sort of atmosphere it creates for other people who live in these areas and don't want cars racing around their streets?
I am worried. There are innocent bystanders. There's been loads of instances where, you know, people who have just come to watch ended up losing their life because of someone who's not able to control their vehicle.
But that could have been you, couldn't it? It could have been you who was driving that car that hit that person and then killed them.
100%, I agree. That could have been
You're
me.
okay with that?
I'm not okay with that. I would never be able to live with myself.
Another here told us how he sees his top speed as an achievement. What's the fastest you've got up to on the roads?
Not here, but faster I got into was 178, bro.
178 on a public road?
Yeah, down on M1. M40, sorry.
178 on the M40?
Yeah, M40, yeah. On the way back from Heathrow, back to Birmingham.
You sound quite proud of it? Is it a...
Yeah, it's an achievement. It's an achievement, man.
Why do people do this?
Adrenaline, man. I've been there. You know that in that moment, you feel that, you know, in the moment you're racing is bad, but the happiness you get in that moment is indescribable, man.
Later, everyone heads to Solihull, and we see a message in the group telling drifters it's their time to shine. Well, these roundabouts are now being used for cars to drift around. We've seen some spin out completely and ended up going onto the verge of the roundabout. Back in West Bromwich, Katie is kept awake most nights. She's lived here for 12 restless years. How many hours sleep would you say you get a night?
5 hours sleep, because I go out. I go to bed after midnight, and I have to wake up like 4 or 5 to start preparing to go to work. So
there's no point going to bed before then?
Yeah, there's no point for me to go early, because I know that the noise will keep me awake. Sometimes you have to call sick and you have to cancel your shift because you're feeling tired to wake up in the morning.
You've had to do that, have you?
Yeah, we have to do that many times. They should think about us as well. They should know that we are also human beings. We are very, very affected by the noise, and it's really impacting our life.
2 weeks later, and we're back. This time in Worcester, we witness some of the fastest driving we've ever seen. We try and stand back from the road, but some of those watching get incredibly close to the passing cars. The party goes on late into the night. Police officers do appear, but Faizan and Zain tell us their presence doesn't really put anyone off.
Yeah, police do turn up eventually, because there is obviously someone's going to eventually report it, and they're going to turn up eventually. So police do turn up all the time. Sometimes more than others. Today there wasn't many turned up, but as you saw, when they do turn up, everyone straight away leaves.
Clearly people aren't being put off at the minute, are they, from what we've seen tonight?
No, they're not, I don't think they will stop. I think it will just continue until enforcement gets stronger.
So people aren't particularly scared of the police, or...?
Not exactly, no.
As night falls across the Midlands, a game of cat and mouse begins. Little thought is given to the law that should stand in the way. In reality, there isn't much stopping danger coming head on. Lewis Warner, ITV News.
Sadly, these races can have deadly consequences. 19-year-old Ben Caulfield and 16-year-old Liberty Charis had been sat on a wall by a road in Albury as a car meet took place nearby. One of the drivers spun out of control and hit them.
Both of the teenagers were killed. We've been speaking to their parents about the struggle of life without their children. A warning, Charlotte Cross's report contains flashing images.
It's November 2022 and Ben Caulfield is heading out to see friends. He never came home. The next thing his parents heard was from the police telling them there had been an accident.
To think now that, you know, this is where we lost our son. Still can't believe it.
This is where it happened. A speeding driver was taking part in an illegal street race along Albury Road in Albury when he lost control and hit a crowd of pedestrians, among them Ben, who wasn't involved, just watching from the sidelines, simply in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Was he crying out for us? Was he crying for his mum and dad? You know, was he in pain? Devastating. For me, I just want to go. I don't want to be here at all. You know, the sound of the traffic behind us, and just knowing that this is the place where our son lost his life. You know, he was far greater than that. It's just, it's soul destroying, it really is.
Videos posted online show the cars gathering before the race. One spectator even caught the moment of the crash. The person continued recording. We have chosen to end it there. The driver, 56-year-old Dia Al-Mamari, was jailed in November for more than 13 years for killing Ben and one of his friends, Liberty Charis, who was 16. Two families woken in the middle of the night by police, bearing the worst news imaginable.
I've gone to the door, and as the police officer stood there, she just looks at me. She went, "Are you Libby's mum?" I went, "Is she dead?" Like this, and she was like, "Is there somewhere you can sit down?" And I went, "Is she dead?" And she just nodded her head.
This mural in Dudley was painted in memory of Liberty. Colourful, loud and creative, it honours the larger-than-life character she'd been. Music was one of her passions. Her mother Tracy had worked at local station Black Country Radio, and Liberty had dreamed of following in her footsteps and taking her career national.
She got big dreams. My dad said to her at the age of 4, "Lib, what are you going to do when you're older?" She was like, "I'm going to be bigger than Gaga." She was a drama queen, massively. But she lived life to the full. She was so passionate, but about life, about charity. She would do anything for anybody. She'd sign me up for everything. "Mum, we're doing this Zumbathon. Mum, we're doing the Walk for Life. Mum, we're doing this." And I miss her so much. Sorry.
She says she doesn't think people who take part in street racing think about the lives they could ruin every time they get behind the wheel.
I would love to be put in a room with some of these people, and I would love them to see the life that I now lead. I was a larger-than-life character that would have gone anywhere, done anything for anybody, and now I'm more or less a recluse. I wished the day that police come here and told me what had happened, they'd just put me down or put a bullet in my head, because to me my life ain't worth living no more. And that's the truth.
As though that wasn't enough to deal with, social media began to fill up with images and videos from others at the scene, who continued to film even as paramedics tried desperately to save Ben and Liberty's lives. We have chosen not to show that, images no parent should ever have to see. Ben's family now have filled their home with smiling photos and happy memories of the man he was.
Son, brother, friend. He'd light up the room when you come into a room. If you had a hug off Ben, you'd had a hug off Ben. He'd got so much to offer the world. He was just the most purest soul.
Please vote for me, and I promise to work tirelessly to deal with issues affecting young people in Dudley.
Ben had served as a junior councillor and junior MP and had been in the final stages of interview for a job with Tesla. A life full of potential, snuffed out far too young.
They go in these cars, they're racing round, they never think it's going to be them. And the reality is now that you're speaking to two parents, that it is real for us every day, every second of the day. You know, there's no let up from it. You know, we're still, 2.5 years on now. We're still looking for him to come through that door.
The parents of Ben Caulfield, ending that report by Charlotte Cross. And if you've been affected by any of the issues raised, there are support details on our website, itv.com/central.
The extent of street racing across the Midlands is staggering. In an attempt to crack down on it, there are High Court injunctions in place banning car cruising across Birmingham and the Black Country. But what are they? And more importantly, how successful have they been?
The High Court injunction is a court order that explicitly bans street racing in Birmingham, Solihull, Sandwell, Dudley, Walsall and Wolverhampton. Anyone caught cruising, or even being a passenger, can face a £5,000 fine, up to 2 years in prison, and their vehicle can be seized on the spot. In the last 6 months, 15 people have been arrested for breaching these injunctions, while a total of £40,000 worth of fines have been handed out to drivers, along with 640 days of suspended sentences.
As well as the High Court injunctions, West Midlands Police has a specific unit whose job it is to tackle street racing. And since December last year, Operation Hercules has brought 66 prosecutions for dangerous driving.
For the past 10 years, officers have regularly been on patrol at night, trying to make our streets safer. Pablo Taylor reports on a typical night on shift.
A Saturday evening in Birmingham, and we're out with West Midlands Police.
I take it you guys are on for this Op Hercules Forza type job?
Yes, we are, sir. Yeah, we are, yeah.
Sergeant Adrian Brown is part of Operation Hercules, set up 10 years ago as part of a crackdown on illegal street racing. Within minutes of our filming, a vehicle is seized.
This is a high-performance vehicle that's been sighted inside Star City, involved in some sort of street racing activities. The driver has allegedly said he's got a temporary cover of insurance for this vehicle. Officers have done some inquiries and asked the driver to prove purchase of that said policy. He couldn't do that, and the vehicle's now been seized for no insurance, and the driver will be prosecuted as such. Go on, Jordan.
With resources stretched, much of Operation Hercules is limited to evidence capture, using unmarked cars fitted with cameras. Over the last 9 months, their footage has helped to secure almost 30 convictions, a feat that has drawn praise from other UK police forces.
I've been called to regional meetings with my colleagues across other other police forces, and they are saying to me, "What are you doing with the street racers? Because they're all coming to us." So that for me is an absolutely positive message that we at the West Midlands are trying really hard, and we're dispersing them out beyond the West Midlands.
The high number of convictions here is also helped by High Court injunctions that ban street racing in Birmingham and the Black Country. Officer numbers may have reduced since 2010, but police say a joint effort between them, the fire service and local councils means Operation Hercules is still seeing success. They say slowly but surely, street racers here are being driven out. Pablo Taylor, ITV News.
Despite the efforts of Operation Hercules, we know street racing is still happening. In fact, we understand that there are plans for a meet-up tonight.
Well, we invited the head of roads policing at West Midlands Police, Gareth Mason, to our newsroom and put some of our findings to him.
We have spoken to some of the racers, and the chilling factor is they say they are not scared of the police.
Okay.
Does that worry you?
So I wouldn't necessarily agree with what they're saying. So we might turn up and disperse an event as it's happening, but we use playing cars, we use other tactics to record what's happening. We've got over 60 pending prosecutions for dangerous driving that are going. Not people that were stopped or arrested on the night, people that we've gone to knock their door after the event because we've captured evidence of them offending. We've done over 300 prosecutions in addition to that, and over 300 notices of antisocial behaviour on those vehicles as well. So there's a number of different ways. We've been stinging tyres of people that are driving dangerously and racing. We've been getting the insurance revoked in conjunction with the Motor Insurance Bureau. So there's a number of different ways. It doesn't necessarily mean they'll be arrested on the night, and we do that. But you know, when you've got 100 or 200 people coming to street race, you can't put 200 people in the cells.
We know the antisocial side of this is probably what affects most people, majority of people who are in residential areas and who can hear the noise and certainly are aware of what is going on. We've got a clip now of a mum who very much with her family is affected to the extent that they're having trouble sleeping at night. Let's have a listen to her.
Yeah, I've lost my ability to sleep, especially before midnight. I don't sleep before midnight, and this is what happened with my entire family as well. My kids, they can't sleep before midnight. They just can't sleep because of the noise. It's really terrible. You can't sleep.
I mean, it is noise, but it's affecting her life. Her children can't sleep. She can't sleep. What are they supposed to do?
If they witness or see street racing, they should definitely call us. We do monitor the number of calls. They have generally been reducing, which indicates that there's been a reduction in street racing in the West Midlands over sort of the last 8 or 10 months. So we need the calls, we need that information because, as I say, they're organised, they'll move around to different areas. And we need all the information we can so that we can act, deploy and deal with the individuals responsible.
Let's have a look now at the real life impact of this and how some families are affected for life. Let's have a look at this clip.
I've gone to the door, and as the police officer stood there, she just looks at me. She went, "Are you Libby's mum?" I went, "Is she dead?" Like this, and she was like, "Is there somewhere you can sit down?" And I went, "Is she dead?" And she just nodded her head.
Does it worry you that they're not worried about the loss of life, whether it's somebody who's watching or even one of their people who are racing?
They're risk-taking individuals, aren't they? They're doing this, they're blatantly breaking the law. They're taking a risk already, and that's why they're probably not too worried. They probably think, out of the 200 people tonight, I'm probably not going to get caught this time. They're risk-taking, and that's probably why they feel that they can carry on with impunity.
I just wondered what you want from the government in terms of making Operation Hercules, making our streets safer. How can they help?
What we could benefit from in policing, I think, is something specific for street racing. Something perhaps to allow us to ban people that are driving dangerously on the roads there and then, on street bans, allow us to seize the car there and then. That means that actually we're not just issuing them a ticket and letting them go on the way or sending them to court and letting them go on the way. We want to be able to be in a position to take the licence from them then, seize the car from them there and then make sure that they lose that licence for the longer term.
That is Superintendent Gareth Mason, the head of roads policing at West Midlands Police, and you can watch an extended interview with him on the newsreel on ITVX. Well, today the government has announced more powers for police to stop illegal street racing.
Yes, police will now be able to destroy seized vehicles after 48 hours instead of 14 days. They say this makes it more difficult for offenders to reclaim their cars and go on to race again. They'll also have stronger powers to seize any vehicles involved in antisocial behaviour, like late night revving, without having to warn people first.
And let's hope it certainly has the desired effect. Well, that is almost it from us for this evening. But tomorrow there is more coverage throughout the day on the impact of street racing across the country. It includes the Tonight programme, which is on at 8:30 p.m. tomorrow. That's on ITV1 and ITVX. And it's called Street Racing Caught on Camera.
But before we leave you, here's a live shot of Nunnery Way, a dual carriageway in Worcester. By day, it's a busy A road with motorists going about their business. At this time, I imagine people are probably returning from work, maybe heading out on other journeys. And as you can see, it all seems fairly civilised.
However, by night, It often transforms into this, yet another hotspot for street racers driving at speeds well above the legal limit. And as we've already seen, sadly, the street racers risk not only their own lives, but the lives of other road users as well.
We will end tonight by reiterating the advice of police. If you see street racing, report it, and that will hopefully go some way to keeping our roads safe. There is, of course, more news from across the Midlands on our website, that is itv.com/central, and of course more features and more coverage from this on ITVX. But from all the team here for now, have a good evening, do drive safely, and we'll see you soon.
From us, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.